I'm going to explain to you as clearly and as quickly how Wicked and the Wizard of Oz timelines intersect. So, everybody knows how the Wizard of Oz goes. Dorothy gets caught up in a storm and her house lands on top of the Wicked Witch of the East. She takes her ruby slippers and she has to go through Oz to find the wizard. There she meets the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion, and comes across the Wicked Witch of the West. She throws a bucket of water on her and she melts. Dorothy then goes and finds the wizard, clicks her heels together 3 times, ain't no place like home, off she goes, happily ever after. Now, Wicked actually starts from here, where the witch melts. Everybody in Oz is celebrating because she has finally died. However, Glinda, the Good Witch, retells the story about how the Wicked Witch of the West came about and how they used to be friends. So we go back to the start. The Wicked Witch of the West, her real name is Elphaba. She was born because her mum had an affair with this magic guy who gave her a green elixir. She drank it and had a green baby, and that is why Elphaba is all green. Now, Elphaba also had a sister named Nessarose. Nessarose is in a wheelchair. This is important to the story. Okay, jump forward in time. Elphaba is older and she's at university. She becomes roommates with Glinda, the Good Witch. At first they hate each other, but then they become best friends. It's a really cute story. But there's a couple of love triangles. Glinda is in love with Fiyero. But Fiyero is actually in love with Elphaba. Nessarose is in love with a munchkin named Bok, but Bok is in love with Glinda. So during this time in Oz, all of the animals can talk, but the government is trying to stop this. And this is where Elphaba finds a little lion cub inside of her classroom. She lets it free, and that lion cub ends up becoming the Cowardly Lion. During this time, Elphaba and Glinda find out that the Wizard of Oz is the reason that all of this is happening. This is where she sings Defying Gravity, and Act 1 ends. So jump forward in time into the second act. Elphaba visits her sister Nessarose and brings her a pair of enchanted ruby slippers to help her walk. Bok ends up breaking up with Nessarose because she doesn't need him anymore, and she accidentally puts a spell on him out of heartbreak to take away his heart, and he turns into the Tin Man. Now, during this time, the government is trying to capture Elphaba because they think that she's evil. So they use Nessarose as a bit of bait for her. They create a massive storm, which creates a big tornado, which then ends up picking up Dorothy's house, landing on top of Nessarose, and she dies. And that is how Dorothy gets the ruby slippers. And we know the rest of her story. Through Oz, happily ever after. So because of all of this going on, Elphaba wants to protect her love, Fiyero, so she puts a spell on him and he turns into the Scarecrow. Here is where the stories intersect. So Elphaba is trying to get the shoes back, so this is where she captures Dorothy and they meet here. Here, Dorothy throws the bucket of water on her and she melts. Glinda comes to visit where Elphaba has melted and she finds there a little vial of green liquid and her hat. And here is where Glinda finds out that Elphaba's real dad is the wizard this entire time. At the end, Fiyero ends up knocking on the door where the Wicked Witch of the West melts to find that there was a trap door. She faked her death the entire time. They run off into the sunset, happily ever after the end.